Okay, and see that we're live. Let me copy the link. Okay, signify on the chat box if you are here with us. If you can see the design, just signify on the chat box. All right, so we're starting. Now, this platform where we are on is Figma. I send a link to the group chat. Um, when you click on the link, if you don't have the app installed on your PC, it will take you to the website on your Chrome browser or any other default browser you use on your system. Now, this is where we'll pick all the details of the design, right? We'll pick all the details from here, and then we also download the images from here as well. So I'll do that first. I'll download this one, two, three, four, five, six images, and then we can start off. So just give me a couple of seconds to do this. Okay, that was image number one. page 2. Page 3. Okay. Now let's get the one here. I think this is it. Uh, banner 1. All right, so this is the last image. So while that is downloading, let me just show you the code right now. So right now we have an empty code file, a new project. So it is empty, absolutely. So try to increase your resolution on your device so you can see my screen um, properly, because for this one, I might not be able to zoom out that much. So hopefully you can adjust the resolution on your device and then see my screen clearer. All right, so we are here. Okay, this is card 1. All right, so I have all the images. So first thing I'll do here is I'll create the HTML. I'll create the HTML file. So I'll call it index.html. So I'll click on this icon here, this new file icon, index.html. Okay, index.html, and then I'll create also the CSS. So I'll call it style.css. So in the index.html, I'll create our normal templates. All right, so the head, the body, the HTML tags. So for this particular project, I will not be showing I won't be rendering the website from our file structure or file manager. Rather, I will use a I will use a an extension, right? A local server extension. So if you go to extensions, let me find it. Where is it? I think it comes with it. I think it comes with let me see, live. Okay, this is live server. So if you search for live server on your VS Code, if you search for live server, you'll see you'll see this particular extension here. Once you install it and enable it, you will see this option below. You will see this option below, right? This go live option below. So this is how I will be rendering the website on the live server. So or on the website. All right. So what I'll do now is that I will click on it and it will start this project for me. And then the project is now live on localhost 5,500. If you don't know what localhost is, don't stress about it too much, right? It is just a way of hosting your files on a port like 5,000 or five, in this case 5,500. All right, so nothing changed. It just makes it easier for us to see our changes on the website without having to refresh every single time. You understand? So let us go ahead with our project. So now we have to add our style. If you still remember how we add styles, we use a link tag and then these attributes, these relation attributes, REL, we set it to style sheet and then we use href to point to the name of the file, in this case styles.css. All right, so let's test if it's actually working. So I will say body background color black. All right, And then I'll go to the website, see if this has taken effect yet. Not yet. Not yet. So I'll add a slash in front of the styles. So that's one of the difference with how they work. Also not set as well. Body, background color black. Let me type H1. H1. Uh, hello world. Okay. So hello world is here, and our background color is still not taking effect. So it is, as you can see here, our href is pointing to styles with an S after the style .css, but our file name is style. Again, a cheap error. So I will remove the last S beneath it. And then when I go back, you can see it's black. You can see how I didn't need to refresh for it to become black. That's the effect of using a live server instead of just opening the index file or the index.html file on the browser directly. All right. So I will remove this styling because our background is not black. All right. So let's talk about our approach here. In fact, I will set the margin and padding to 0 first. So this is one of the first things you have to do when you are starting a new project, right? You want to style because by default, websites come with default padding and margin around them. Right. So you want to set the padding and margin to 0 so that whatever is there is what you are setting by yourself. So you can confirm the accuracy of it. And then you want to set the overflow. This is for vertical, horizontal, hidden. All right. So our website only scrolls up and down. It doesn't scroll left and right. All right. So you want to set this on the page by default. Now let's talk about our approach to creating this website. All right. Now we'll take it section by section. So we'll take this section first. After that, we'll take this whole section here, right? This whole section here. After that, we'll take this section, and then lastly, we'll take the last two, right? So let's start with the hero section. So the hero section is called the hero section. The first part of the website you meet, right? It's called the hero section. So we'll start first. So we have this navigation here, and then we have this text, the large one and the small one. We have the button, and we have this. All right, we have this here. Now all of these are aligned together, and then this is aligned together. So the first thing I will do is I will create this container. I will add the image, right, and then I will start creating this section over here. All right, so let's start with creating the hero section. So instead of just using divs all the time, we have a section. We have a tag called section. So we can have that as section div. Okay, sure. I'll have it as container. Um, a class of container. All right. So the section container, and then the first thing above is the nav bar. This is called the nav bar. So I'll have the nav bar there as well. Nav bar. So if you want to create a div with a class, just type div dot the class name. So I want to type nav bar here. And if I press enter, it creates the div for me. So first thing I want to do is I want to add the background image here. Let's do that first. So I'll set the ID here to hero. All right. So I'll say hashtag hero. This is how we select IDs, if you remember. Hashtag hero. Let me set the background as this. Let me send the height to 100 view height. Okay. 100 view height with 100% position relative. I'll remove the position relative. just this is fine. All right. So let's see how that comes up. So nothing changed yet. You can't see anything yet. You can't see anything yet. You can't see. If I change the background color, you see that it is taking the, yes, this is it. This is what we have currently. Nothing beautiful yet, but that's fine for now. So what I will do, I will come to my file and I will copy all of the images I just downloaded. I'll copy them into documents, projects, FSM final projects, show here. I'll create a new file called images, and then I'll paste them inside of images. So Seda-Hero is the name of the file we want to use. Now, this Seda-Hero, if you can see here, it says it is 2,968 kilobytes. That is 2.9 MB, almost 3 MB. That is a very, very large image to use as your hero. So I will show you a trick I use. It's not a trick, it's a best practice, right? So what you want to do is you want to change the image from a PNG to a WebP. WebP version of images are for websites only, so they will only show on websites, all right? But they are also more optimized and the size is usually way smaller than PNG versions. So I'll convert this right now. Shouldn't take very long. Not take very long. All right. So let me download the image and see. So the image is now 126 kilobytes, all the way from over 2,968. All right. So that's the difference. So this time the image will load way faster, way faster. All right. So I'll paste the image here as well. I'll delete this old one. This one is almost 3 MB. This one is not even up to 0.1. Okay, this one is 0.1 MB. Or rather, it is just 126 kilobytes. 126 kilobytes, while this one is 2,890 something kilobytes, right? So this one is too large. I will delete this and I will use the smaller version. So I'll probably will do the same for the rest of the image, but let me just check which one is heavy. 500 kilobytes is not bad. This one is heavy. I will change it later on when we get to the section. Okay, so we have our image now. Let us add it to the background. So we come over here, the hero. Now, instead of background color, I want to just set background as it is and use a URL. URL, you can see URL. URL is where you put in the link of the image you want. So I'll put this, but it's not called hero, it is called hero Seda-Hero. So I'll put the actual name here. So don't meet error Seda-Hero. And the type is WebP. So this is how we add the image to the background. So let us check and see what it looks like now. So you can see we have our image here already. We have our image here already. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So let us continue. So I want to say background size cover. The position should be center. So cover means that it will cover the div. It will cover the section where it is being placed. All right. So let me show you how that looks right now. All right. So it covers it and then it is moved to the center. So we have other options for as well for background. We can say instead of cover, we want contain. So we want it to be contained in the div. So it may not cover the whole thing. As you can see, it didn't cover the whole thing. It's now repeating. It now have to repeat to fill the page. So the image starts here and end here. That's a normal size. You understand? But because we want it to contain, when we select when we select cover instead to cover everything by itself, we have this, all right, and this is what we would use for now. So let us move on. Now you might not see it, but there's a small triangle on top of this image. There's a rectangle rather that gives it a kind of color. So if I click on this icon, it will be taken off. You see how it becomes brighter. You can see how you can see the L on this look smart, but when I remove this, it's too bright. You can't see it anymore. So we have like a background overlay. We have a background overlay over the image. All right. So let's try and add that now. So we can come here and say box shadow insert. All right. So what this insert means is that so box shadow usually I treated box shadow. I treated box shadow in the last class. I think the last CSS class, right? We talk about box shadow and how we can use it to lift up um, elements in HTML. But now, if you set it to insert, it's actually the shadow comes above the it comes above, right? So that's why it looks like this. You can see how it's dark now because the shadow is on top of it, not below it. So when it is below it, it makes it rise up. But when you put it above it, it acts like an overlay, just like how we have right now. So let me check the design again. So if I click on the rectangle, I can see that it has an opacity of 32%. So if I come here, this one currently is on 50%, 0.5 50%. So to make it 32%, I'll cancel this 5 and type 32. So it's now 0.32, which is the same thing as 32%. So this is how it should look, right? This is how it should look. So now if we put our text here, it should show better. So we have our image here. Let's move on to the next section, which is this, right? Which is this here. This is the next thing we have to build this section here. So now we can see like this now. This is just a div or a container, right? And then there's one div here, this text here, and this text here. So there's a div here because there are three elements here, and they are all styled to the left. That's why we have to create a div for this one, like a container here, like this, and then this text on the center, and then this text below. If you look at the styling between them is spaced between, right? So there's space between this and this, and between this and this as well. That is the idea, right, for creating or for justifying the elements here. And then we now have a top border on the container. So let us try and achieve this real quick. So we have our nav bar. What are the elements we have there? So one div, one text, another text. All right, this text, I'll put this in a span. I'll put this in a span as well. I'll put this in a div. So we're creating one divs and two span. So instead of navbar, we're creating a div and then two span. To create two span, I will type span. I'll type the times symbol and then I'll press two. And then we'll have two spans here. All right. So in this span, it says Seda. In this other span, it says, I think the number. So I'll just put anything random here for now. Plus 2, 3, 4, 8, 0. All right, so this is the number. Now, inside of the div here, we have three links. We have three links. You can see we have a link that says Pocket Square Holder, a link that says about, should be about Seda. Seda is the name of the company. So it says about Seda and then contact us. All right. So these are the three links. So, and you know how we add links to HTML, we use a tag, right? So we need three links. So I also put a times three as well. Then we have our three links here. Shift Alt F. Okay. So this is one, and then there's the third one. A. Okay. All right. So the first link is so you can I can press Control and click on this, and then I can copy it and paste inside of the link. All right. So second one says about Seda. And the last one says contact us. right. So we have our three links and then we have the text inside of here as well. Let's see how that is rendered on our side. You can see here the links have, so kindly increase the resolution of your screen, but I will zoom here so you can see it. So this is how it looks like currently. We have the default color of links, which is blue, but it's not looking blue because of the overlay. So it's not looking blue because of the overlay, but don't worry, we'll fix all of that. All right, we'll fix all of that. So you can see here um, the pocket square holder, about Seda, contact us, and then the Seda and the phone number. So let us style it as it should be. So first of all, this is styled a flex, in a flex row, right? In a flex row, and that justified center. The width is 100%. All right. So first of all, let's add the padding of what's it called, of the container itself. So if I click on this and I press Alt, you can see that there's a padding around it of 80 pixels. 80 pixels around it. So I'll come here to style. On the hero, I'll add a padding of 80 pixels. Okay, so up and down 80% everywhere. So let's see again. All right, let me zoom out back to give the accurate view. So this is how it looks like currently. All right, so let's add our styling. Now for this, we have display as flex. We have display as flex. We have so by default, the direction is already a row by default. Like I said, by default is already a row. So even if you don't add this, it's fine. So just so the width of the container is 100%. We justify it space between. Space between. All right. Let's see what it looks like currently. All right, everything is still as it currently was. Why is that? So we'll figure that out very, very soon. We will figure that out very, very soon. All right, so let's add the border and see where we're at. So border, I'll say 2 pixels solid, and the color is white. So this will show us where our div is at currently. All right, so the div is full. So the error we're making is that we're writing all of this style instead of hero section, and whereas they should be on navbar. All right, they should be on navbar. They should be on navbar. So that's an error on my part. So what I'll do now, I'll create the container class. Dot container. You see why it is in there. You see how we have the hero section, a container, and then a navbar inside. But if you look at the design, you can't see the container anywhere. It's just the hero section and then the navbar. I'll show you why the container is important very, very soon. So I'll take this padding of 80 pixels and place it in the container. All right. And then all of our other styling here for navbar, I will set that to navbar. I'll come back to styles. I'll create the .navbar class and add, in fact, they all need to have this 100%. So the width for all of them is 100%. So navbar is taking the full width of container, and container is taking the full width of the hero, and the hero is taking the full width of the body. Okay, so I will take all of this, our styling, and place it on the nav bar, and then we can see what it looks like currently. Now you can see we have our border. So you might not see it very clearly, but we have the our number here at the end. Our number is here at the end. Our text is here, and then our what's it called? Our links is here as well. Now, for some reason, this is spanning outside of the div. Let's try and see why that is. You should not be doing that. Now, I will set the box sizing to border box. To border box. Now, when you set the border box, if you add the padding, it affects the size of it affects the elements inside instead of the size of the box itself. All right. So border box, and we still have our what's it called? We still have our container outside. So what I'll do is I'll move this from body to all. Okay. All right. And now you can see it's fixed. Now, what did I do? I added this asterisk sign instead of selecting a class or an element or an ID. I use the asterisk sign. If you use asterisk sign to if you add style to an asterisk sign on CSS, what happens is that the style gets added to every element. So now every element in this HTML file by default will have a padding of 0, margin of 0, overflow X will be hidden, and the box sizing will be set to border box. Now, border box and content box are two different things. If you add padding to a content box, the padding the padding increases the size of the box. All right. But if you add padding to a border box, it just affects the elements inside of the box. So if I change this now to content box, and I go back, you see that the the navbar is now spanning outside of the heel section, which you don't want. So that's why we had it at border box. So the padding or the sizing of the element stops at the border. Okay. So we have that set. Now our border should be just for the top alone, for the top, and the color of everything inside of our nav bar should be white. All right, white. Or for more accuracy, we use FFF. FFF is something as white. It is just the hex code. All right, so we have it as white. Now, the color of the links did not change. Let us fix that now. So in the navbar or not, you can just target A tags. So if you just type A, you target all of the A tags, and then you can set the color to white, like we have here. All right, so let's just look at our design now. So this is what it looks like right now. So now this one, if you look at the Figma file, it is a column and they are aligned to the start. All right, it's a column because they are sitting above each other, but it is aligned to the right because they all start from the left. All right, so it is aligned to the right. Okay, so let's achieve that. So inside of this div here, we'll call this, we'll give it a class of navbar links, navbar dash links. All right, I will copy this to my CSS. And then, yes, so now there is a more advanced way of selecting. I think I can increase my, sorry, I think I can increase my, just a little bit, okay? So there's a more advanced way of selecting class. Now, this A tag, this will affect all of the A tags, right? So even if I put an A tag outside of the nav bar, right? If I set an A tag here and I say hello, all right? If I do that, you see that the hello is also white as well. It is also white. Now, if I want that only the links inside of the navbar should be white, maybe we have other links here and they have other colors. But if I want the one on the navbar alone to be white, instead of setting this, instead of calling it like this, just a tag, I'll type navbar in front of it. Right? Sorry, dot navbar because it's the class name I'm targeting. So dot navbar, comma, a. All right, navbar, comma, a. So let us see now. Uh, hold on. Navbar. Okay, this is in navbar, right? It is not in the navbar. Okay. Hold on. Navbar A tag. Okay. Now this is it, right? So what this did is that instead of just styling all of the A tags on our HTML file, we want to style only the A tags in navbar. So the way we achieve that is by typing first of all the class. So navbar class. Then if we type anything else before the code block, right, and we don't add any other signal inside of it, we don't add any comma or anything inside, it will target all of the A tags inside of the class of navbar. And that is why, as you can see here, the navbar links are white, but the one outside navbar is not white. All right, so let's leave it like that. I'll also add here text decoration because you can, if you look there, you see it has an underline. I'll have this as none, so we'll move the underline there. Now we now have our navbar links, which is a column. Let us style that. So dot navbar links. Okay, perfect. So display flex direction is a column. Align items starts. All right. Let us check. So you can see they're now aligned as we want them to be on the file. Yes. Now let's look at the size, the font size of them. So they are each 20 pixels and bold. All right. So our top navigator, our top border there is 3 pixels. The font of this is 20 pixels and bold. Okay. And then there's 9 pixels gap in between them. Perfect. So here we can say font size is 20 pixels. Then the font weight is 500. Bold is 500. Hold on, let me see. Bold is 700. All right. And then each of them have a 9 pixels gap between them. So I can just come to this navbar links container here and set the gap. I'll say gap to 9 pixels. All right. So let's check again. You can see it now looks a bit more like what we have on the design. Now, before we move to the setup, consider the containers have there's space between the container and this navbar here, and the space is 46 pixels. All right. So that space is the top padding. It is the top padding. So I'll come here to the navbar and I'll say padding top. Right, it's 46 pixels. Okay, perfect. So let us move on. Now let's move. I'll move this hello text here. Uh, let's take this hello text off. Okay. So we need the font size of this and font of this. So let's see the font of this. This one is 40 pixels and bold. This one is 20 pixels and bold. Okay, that's fine. So let's give them names. So I'll give them a class rather. I'll call it logo. And then I'll call this one number or phone number. Give it a class phone dash number. Awesome. So here they are all inside. Hold on, let me say navbar. Okay, they are all inside navbar. So navbar dot logo. Font size is 40 pixels and the weight is bold. Font weight bold. And then second one is phone number. Phone number 20 pixels and the weight is also bold. So let's move this here. Perfect. Let us see what it looks like. So we now have our header section done. Let's move to the next one, which is this section. right here. So this one and this one are in the same place because as you can see, this text is aligned with the top of this here. So they are all in the same div. So we'll create a div here and then we'll put another div inside and then this text on the right of it. All right. Let us achieve that now. So a new div. I'll call this introduction. Still inside the hero section. I'll call this dot. Maybe let's use intro. So I'll use text here. The first one is text, and then the second one is I'll call it index because this is an index of the, or I'll just call it one for more simplicity. So in the text we have three elements. We have an H1, we have a P tag, and a button tag. All right. So let's have all three of them here inside text. H1, a P tag, and a button. Okay. Let us copy the content. Oh shit. Okay. So this one is 96 pixels, kind of large. This one is 14 pixels. And then the button, what is the text on the button? It says learn more. I'll just type that in. Learn more. Fine. Let us go ahead and see our content. You can see they are all here. They are all here. Let us style it. So intro and text. So the other one is just one, right? I'll just put instead of a div, I'll have a span that says one. Then I'll just put O1. So intro. Intro is the whole section. So I'll call it hero, right? Yes, hero dash intro. We might have intro in other sections, so we don't want the style here to affect the other ones there. So when I put hero like this, how CSS will define it is that it will find, first of all, the hero section, and then inside the hero section, to now find the section with the class of intro. So if I use just intro, it will pick all the intro in the file. But since I might have intro elsewhere, right? Like here now, this is another intro. All right, this is another intro. So I want to have the styling for here to affect the intro only in the hero section. That's why I have hero class here and then intro after that. So intro has a width of 100 pixels. 100 pixels. Display is flex. Direction is so perfect. Justify content is space between because there's all of the space in between two elements. All right. So that's it for the intro. Now we'll have hero. Let's start the text. The text. So this has a width of 100 pixels, of a width of 100 pixels. We don't have to set the width. So we can just set the display. It's a column because they are on top of each other. Sorry, display is flex. And then flex direction is column. And then they are aligned to the start. So I'll say align items start. Okay. And then we have all of the color in the intro to be white. So FFF, that's fine. Um, so the color is currently not white. White that is, let us see what is happening. So hero intro text. Hero intro text. Hero intro text. What is wrong? So the intro has a color of white. Let me put it in text and see if it shows up in text. Still does not, still does not show up as a text. Let us add a background color and see if it will work. Background color red. If it doesn't work, then it's an issue with our selector. So it didn't work. So our selector here is too deep in, I'm guessing. So we can remove this. So let's just target hero text, or let's target dot hero and text. Hero and then the text inside. Still nothing, still nothing, still nothing. Okay. Hero text. What I would do here, I'll call this hero dash intro to be more specific. Dash intro. Okay. All right. So we are here. Now the selectors, they only go two classes deep. So the first class and the next class. They must be parent and child, not parent and grandchild. All right. So what I mean is that it must be from the parent to its immediate child, not from the grandparent, right, to one of the child inside. All right. So try and remember that when you are building yours. I will remove the background color here. All right. So now the H1, 96 pixels. Now I'll have that H1 as the default for all the H1s on the website. So H1, the font size was 96 pixels. I might reduce that, but let's say it looks like first. And then font width is this. All right. 1.2, that's fine. And then the P tag was 14 pixels. 14 pixels. Normal line height, padding top, nope. I remove all of this. Let us see what it looks like. Okay, looks smart all day long. Perfect, almost perfect, almost perfect. Now, the look smart, you can see that it's not on one line, it is broken down. So to achieve that, we have this BR tag I mentioned that day. Look smart all day long. So I'll have the BR tag here. It's a self-closing tag. Uh, like so. And then it's broken down to look smart all day long. Now our own is all caps. It is all caps. So we can achieve that with the style. So if I come here to H1, all my H1 are all caps. So I can say, um, what is the, what is it font, text, transform, capitalize, or uppercase is the value we're looking for. Yes, uppercase. So text transform uppercase, and we have it in uppercase now. Our text, let's add the height and width to our button. So if I click on the button here, if I click on the button here like so, you can see the button has a height of 49 pixels and a width of 180 pixels. But instead of using that, I'll target the text and the padding. So the text is 14 pixels and the padding is 16 vertical, 45 horizontal. All right. So I'll come over to this text. Okay. So the text button, the font size is 14 pixels and the padding is 16 pixels, 45 pixels. Let's confirm that real quick before we move on. Yes, correct. So let's look at it right now. So you can see we have our button here as we want it to look. All right. So let's remove. So button by default have border and outline. So I'll say border none. I don't want any border. And the outline as well, none. Now, what is the background color for the button? It is white. All right. So we can add here and say background white. Perfect. We can see we have it almost complete. Almost complete. All right. So what is left now is to add the space here. I see there's so now we have this one here as well. Let's add that real quick. O1. I think O1 is there. It says one and it is inside of hero intro. Okay. So hero intro one. What is the font size? Is it 40? 64 pixels. Bold. Font size 64 pixels. Font weight 700. Right. Yes. Now hero text or hero intro rather, row space between. Perfect. Let's see what it looks like. So align. So now the row is space between. It is justified space between, but it is aligned to the start. So the start for a row is the top. For aligning it, the start is the top, while the start for justifying it is on the left. So we say align items here. Start. Okay. Let us have a look. Now it is here, but it is black. So let's correct that real quick. So hero intro, the color is white. And there we go. There we go. Let us add the space. Well, let's add the space here. Now, this is as well this can just act as our the the padding below. So this is 174 pixels. Let's add that. So instead of having the entire container to have a padding of 80, okay, 80 minus 175. Right. So first of all, let's make the entire container here, right? Let us make it to be is a column. Let's make it justify space between for our container in hero. So I'll come here, hashtag hero dot container. Right. So I want the justify content to be space between. I'll place it below this space between. Display should be flex. I'll take this up. Display is flex. It's already in a row by default, so I have to set it to column. So flex direction column because by default it is in a row. All right, let us see what we have currently. Nothing changes yet. Let us confirm that our tune is actually affecting. Let's say background color red. I'll remove it back. I want to just see if our style is being implemented. And it is. All right. So the container, I want the height to be 100% of the entire hero section. All right. So let us see how that comes out now. So we have our hero section almost done. Almost done. Okay. Hero almost done. Let's add the space between all of this text here, and then we're done for the web version at least. Okay. So let us see. Let's see. Now let's look at the space between them. The space between the button and the text say is 52 pixels, and then the space between these two is 22. So we can set this to 22 pixels margin bottom, and then this to 50 pixels margin bottom, or 52 rather. Let me just confirm that. In fact, all we need to target is the text. If we get this text, We can set the space above it to 22 pixels and the space below it to 52 pixels. Let's do that. So now hero intro and then p tag. All right, let's achieve that real quick. Sorry, hero intro p tag. Let's see if that work. Hero intro and then p. Let's say margin top to 22 pixels and then to bottom to 52 pixels or the 50 pixels. Let's see if this added. Okay, it worked. So let us check 22, 52. All right. So again, we targeted the elements with the class of hero intro. And then inside of that, we now have p tag by just adding space between them. Is that we achieved that? All right. And then this is our hero section completely done. Completely done. Now the text, is it the same thing? Let me see. P tag. Okay, the same thing, yes. This one is so smaller. Did we set the font size to 14 pixels? I think we did. So let's break it down. Let's make the p tag. Let's break it down to look like this. And see how this one is. It is let's increase the font size. It's too small. So let's set the default p tag font size to 17 pixels. All right, 17 pixels. Now let's see. Okay, I can leave it like this. I can work with this. So this is our hero section done. Let's move on to the next section where we render these three cards. Let us render these three cards. So let's create another section. So we'll close the first one. We'll create a new section. A new section, same thing container as well. And then the container we have, let's say as well, we have an intro that has this H1, H2 rather, and then we have these cards. So let us say intro. So in container we'll have dot intro. Okay, dot intro. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Dot intro H1. And then outside of that, we now have the cards div. So I'll say dot cards dash div. All right, now let's copy the text. Let us copy the text. Perfect. Let's type that first before we come to the card div. Let us type that before we come to the card div. Okay. Yes. So this has is aligned left, text aligned left, and then 48 pixels bold. So I'll come over here. This is an H, not H1, sorry. H2. So I'll come here and say, I'll copy the exact same thing. Then I'll say 49 pixels, right? Was it 49? 48. Everything else stays the same. Let's check our design. So it is already aligned in the place we want it to be. It should be capitalized. Text, okay, this is H1, sorry. H2. H2, H2. Okay. So our H2, the width should be like 60%. Okay. 60%. For this section, I'll call it product. Let's give it an idea of product. Products. All right. So let us see again. You can see how we have the padding here. There's already padding here. Why is there padding here already? That is because our container, right? This style affects all the containers and it carries the width and the padding. You understand? So, and then also we don't have section here. Okay, so that's why I can say we have our padding here by default. All right, it's already here. So the padding now, as long as we wrap each section with a container, we'll have our padding set there by default. So now let's come here. This intro needs to be only half of a container. So I can come here and say products, hashtag products for the ID, intro, the width should be 60%. Let us see how that came out. All right, so we are fine with this. We are fine with this. But you can see how it folded exactly how it did here. All right, so hold out the last thing here, closings, and then incorporate. I mean, this doesn't mean much. It just means that you are getting everything right, so you're getting the dimensions right. So there's a background here, and there's the color. So I'll give that to the section of ID products. So let's take the product section. That is the background color. Okay. Now let's add the cards inside of this div. If you look at these cards, they are all following the same shape. They each have a button, an image, and a title here. So the title and the button will be in one div because we have to align them on top of the image. And then the card is wrapped. So the style is the same thing. All right. And they are repeated. There are only three now. There are only three now. But imagine if we have like 6 products or 20 or 50. We can start putting each of them one after the other inside of our HTML. So this is where JavaScript comes to play. All right, so let's create our JavaScript file and let's use JavaScript to add the images inside. So I'll come here and I'll add an app.js. I will come to below the body, the bottom, the last in the body. I'll add a script tag. Source should be slash. Now, the reason why we're using slash is because we're now using our local host. All right, we're using the server, right, which you will see once you've installed live server. Come here, search for live server. All right, you see the live server extension here. Click on it. You see an install button. I've already installed it. That's why you're not seeing install here. I've already installed it. Once you install it, you see the button show up here to go live, right? So click on that and it will take you live. And once you are live, now it will render all of your files for you. And once it does that, to access the files, you have to use the slash first. If you notice before in our code before, we don't use the slash in front of our source for images or even for JavaScript files or CSS file. We just put the name there. But since we are using this, we have to add the slash there to properly route our folders, all right? So we have the app.js there. First thing I will do is that I will pull this cards div. So I will change this to an ID because I don't want to pull multiple of them by mistake, right? So the ID is cards div. So I will say const cards div equal to get element by ID. So documents.get elements by ID using the ID. Because I can see here it has an ID, not a class. All right, this div has an ID, not a class. So we're pulling it by ID, and the ID is cards div, as you can see here. All right. So we have our cards div. Let us now define our cards. So const, I'll say cards data. Let me just say cards equal to is an array of objects. Remember, objects is a group of related key and value pairs. All right, so we have let's look at what our objects we have. Our object will have a what's it called? A title, set to the title of the card or the product, to have an image set to the link, all right, an image set to the link, and then to have a link. If you click on shop now, it should take you to the page for that product. So you should have a distinct link for it as well. All right. Let us achieve that now. So we'll have title. We'll call it feature one. Let's just use what is there in design. Or we'll call it product one. All right. And then we'll use image, a string as well. So let us find the link feature one slash PNG. So the link here will be slash images, all right, slash feature one dot PNG. Okay. And then I'll say link is set to nothing because we don't have link right now. So I'll put a comma here and then I'll duplicate this twice. So the second one is product two. And then if you are wondering why the image, instead of just the name of the image, we have slash images slash feature two, because first of all of our images here is inside a folder called images, right? So that's why we use, and then the slash is because of what I said about the live server. We have to use a slash first, all right? So we have slash images, okay? So we'll come down here as well and say product three, feature three. All right, now let's create elements for this. Let's create elements for this and add it inside the div. Okay, so how do we achieve this? We can loop through this. We can loop through this, right? Loop through this cards array. And then in the cards, we'll pick each card one by one. We'll take the title, we'll create an H4 tag, put this inside as a text. We'll create an image, put this inside as the source, and then we'll create a button and put this inside as the link, all right? Or an A tag rather. Let us do that now. So I'll say cards dot for each, all right? For each card, want to run a certain operation. So this is something as this, all right? If it's just one variable inside or one parameter inside of the function, we can remove the bracket, but let's just leave that for now. So what do we do first? Let us create div. So if you remember how to create div, we use document.create elements div. All right. Document.create elements div. Now this div is the div for the class itself, for the card itself. All right. So let's create a new title div. This is also a div. Okay. All right. Now this div, if in case you're wondering why, it's because of this here. All right. So we have this one here aligning with the button. This title here and the button, they align. So we have to put them inside of the same div. All right. So we have that here, title div, and then let's create the title itself. I'll say const title text, right, equal to document dot create elements h3. Okay. So what else are we creating? We're creating a button, right? Card button. Or let me just call this card text or card title. Okay. So let's create the button and then the image. Const card button is like this, and then const card image. It's an image. So I've created the first div, which is this whole container here. All right, this is the first div I created. All right, this is the first div, which is this here. this. And then this title div is the div that will hold this title and this button, so we can put them as a on a row, right? On a row. And then this title is the text itself. This button is this button here, and then lastly the image, which we have here last. Now let's start one after the other, starting with the elements themselves. So the let's put the text inside of the H3 element. So I can say card title dot text content equal to card dot title. All right. So the text content dot title. Okay. So then what next? I'll call this element definition or creating elements, and then inserting content. Perfect. So we have the card title, we have text content set to the card dot title. No, up next is the button. So we can say card button is learn more. I think what do you say? Sorry. Shop now, not learn more, shop now. So the text content for this is shop now. All right, shop now. And then the image source. Now, image have an src attribute, if you remember correctly. So we can say card image dot src, that is dot source, should be this. So instead of putting the source in the image tag with HTML, we use JavaScript to insert to set the attributes. All right. So this is how we've added all of those. Now, the button, this should be not a button, but an A tag. So we now also need an href as well, because it's a link. If you remember, it's a link. So we need an href as well. So we can say the href is card.link. So now, if you click on the button, it should direct you to the link, which is empty for now. So I'll just put hashtag. Okay. So now we have added all of the contents inside of the element. Now let's start to arrange them inside of the div. So I can say title div, right? Dot append child card title. I want to put the title and the button in title div, right? So I will say title div dot append child again, card button. So append child puts it inside. All right. So after that, I have what I just done is that I've put this text and this shop now button. I've put both of them inside of the title div. So next, I have to put the title div inside of this card and also the image, right? This image inside of the card as well. So I would say card div dot append child, title div first, and then card image. Perfect. So what we've done here is append elements in divs. Okay. Now let us give class names. So does the card need a class name? It does. So I'll say adding class names. All right. Adding classes also. So we have a class list. A class list is a list of all the classes that an element has. So card div dot class list dot add. We now add card inside of it. So now each of these cards will now have a class of card. All right, card class. Now, want to also add title to this card title. No, not this one, sorry. This title div here. So let's do that. Title div dot class list dot add. So I'll say card dash title dash div. Perfect. Okay. Now let us see if we have our elements on HTML. We do not. It's not here. Why can't we see our cards and the images and the text? Now, if you notice, we have one last thing to do. We have the card div, but we have not put the card div inside of the cards div container. Now, let us change this name to card div container. All right, so this one is this. So we have to use JavaScript to put all of those three cards inside of here. So lastly, we will say cards div container dot append child. And we'll put the entire card div inside. All right. Now let's see if we have our contents here. You can see we have them here. We have product one, shop now, button, product two, and product three. Now let us style it. So first of all, it is styled in a flex row. So we'll say first cards, the card div is here. We'll say ID of products and then ID of cards div. Let's go. ID of products cards dash div. So display, first of all, I'll set the width to 100%. Display is flex. It's already in row by default, so I'll put justify content space between. So those spaces of the card. Okay. Let us see. You can see how it is already taking shape. It is already taking shape. Now, each of the cards, they have a padding of 33 pixels, 31 on the horizontal and 33 vertical. So inside of the cards div, we have each of the cards. What's the name? What the class we give them? We give them a class of card. So if we start this class card, it will affect this card div we created here in JavaScript. So I can come here and select that div. I'll say cards div and then dot card. So it won't affect any card elsewhere. All right. So display here is flex. All right. The flex direction is a column. It's a column. All right. We have a padding of 31, 33 pixels, I think 33 pixels vertical and 31 pixels horizontal. Let me cross check that to be sure. So 31 pixel horizontal and 33 vertical, correct? All right, so let us see. Now, it also has a background color, as you can see here, of white. So background color is white. I'll come here and say background FFF. Okay. It has a radius, does it? No. Oh, it has a radius. Where's the radius? This is it here. Where's it? Sorry. Um, why am I seeing 0 pixels here? So 4 pixel corner radius. So in HTML or CSS, we call that border radius. So how curved the edges are? Border radius is 4 pixels. Let us see what it looks like currently. You can see our card is taking shape very well. It's taking a very beautiful shape. Let's add the space between the cards and this title here. And that space is about 42 pixels. So the intro has a margin below it. So margin bottom of 42 pixels. Okay. Now let us style this title div here. So first off, the feature, they have a size of 24 pixels. 24 pixels. Let's start with that first of all. So let's find the class name. So the class name for that div is card title div. Card title div. So let's come here and say dot card dash title dash div. All right. So the div is a row. So by default, it's already a row. So we'll give it display of flex, and that will give it a flex direction of row by default. We want the justify content again to be space between. Right. We want the width to be 100%, if that is fine. Or okay. And then we want the car title div, the h3 inside. The h3 should have, or rather, I can have all of the. Let me look at the design again and see if this is h3, this is h3, this is h2. Okay, so I can just have the h3 outside of here to have that size. So where we have h2 here, we can have h3 next. H3 24 pixels. Everything else is left constant. So we have this. Beautiful. Now let's add space between the image and the card div, which is 16 pixels. So the cards title div have a margin bottom of 16 pixels. All right. Yes. Now let us style this our button here. This button is a different kind of button. So I'll put this here. So the A tag inside of there. Now, what is the font size? Let's use font size and padding to achieve the shape. So the font size is 11 pixels. The padding is 1034, 10 pixels vertical, 34 pixels horizontal. The corner radius is 5 pixels. So let's go. Font size, 11 pixels. Padding, 10 pixels vertical and 34 horizontal. So if you write it like this is shorthand. So this will put 10 pixels top and bottom, 34 left and right. That's what it does. So color is black. The border is 1 pixels solid black. The border radius is 5 pixels. It has outline. So I'll remove the outline. It has a border, not outline. So outline none. Border 0. Let us see what it looks like currently. Now all that is left is the underline. So I will say text decoration. This is where underline is. So I will say none. I don't want any style. And I can see we have our button just like that. Done 100%. Done 100% from, or inserted rather, from JavaScript. All right. So at the end of this, I will deploy this website live so you can see the design. All right. You can see the design. So once it is 10 minutes left, I'll start working on the responsiveness of it. So I'll leave this one for you guys to do when I give you the code. I will leave this for you to do when I give you the code. All right. Um, so try and see if you can figure this out. This has a background image. This one is just a column. All right. We have into it. Let me move this button. This button over here. All right. So let me help you achieve this one here. These testimonials. So this section here is your this banner. I'll leave it open. Banners. Okay. So I'll come here and start on testimonials. Section ID testimonials. All right. So I'll do this one. Let me see. So we have our intro, a container, and then intro and the div. All right. So inside of it, container. In the container, we have the intro and then the testimonial div. Awesome. In the intro, we have our H2, and the H2 says this is what buyers have to say. Testimonial div is where we now have all of this card here. So for the sake of our time, I will not add these stars. But if you want to add the stars, all you need to do is create a div above this card here, put render the star 5 times there. You understand? Right, render it 5 times there, each of them. Okay, I think they are all of them are one. Okay, each of them render it 5 times and make it a row, and then add it to the column here. That's what you need to do. Very, very easy. So you can see all of them have the same name and the same testimonial. So that makes it easy for us. So in testimonials div, I'll create 8 cards. All right, I'll create it. In fact, let's make it more mundane to give you a less intuitive way. So a way that you will understand. Normally, I will use a grid to start this, but because I won't taught you guys grid, I'll just create 2 rows instead and have them in a column. So I'll call it dot row. All right, dot rows, dot row. All right. Then I'll create 5 div here called testimonial. Further, testimonial for it. Okay. And then I'll duplicate this twice. As a matter of fact, let me first add the content before I duplicate them. So they each have a testimonial and a name. So the name or the testimonial will be a p tag, and the name will be a spam. All right. So let's add the testimonial inside of here, and then the name is Michael Kesa. All right. So let us style this. Let us style this. Let's make them 4. So that's 4. And then we'll duplicate the entire row twice because there's 8 of them there. Okay. All right. So let's have this in a row. So testimonials first. Let's grab testimonials. So testimonials. In fact, we should have our padding set by default. The padding is set by default. So that's fine. Now for this, our container is a row. For other ones, it has been a column, but for here it is a row. So we'll have dot container. Display is flex. It's 0. Okay. Yes, it's a row. It's a row. It's a row. Align items starts. Flex starts. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So we then have testimonials div inside of that. Inside of that, we'll set the width. to be let me see. Let's leave the width out of it first. Let's see the border 1 pixel black just to see where how much space is taken. So we need it to take the full space. We need the testimonial div to take the full space left. All right. So let me say flex one. All right. So flex one makes it takes up all of the extra space inside because we need all of that space. Okay. So let us go on to create our testimonial card. So we have the div. So this div is a column because we have two rows sitting on top of each other. So I will say display is flex, flex direction is column, and align items. I'll say stretch. So I want them to be stretched the entire width of the testimonial div. So then I can say testimonial div and the row and start that as well. And then space dot row. Each of the row is flex, right? And then they are rows by default. So they are rows by default aligned to the left. So justified space between. So let's add 100% on each of these. So width 100%, and then the row as well has a width of 100%. Let us see. Okay. All right. So let us add the justified content of space between for each of the testimonial cards inside of it. All right, so that may not be enough to create the gap. So let's add our gap as well. So a gap of 24 pixels, a gap of 24 pixels to demarcate each of them. Okay, so let's add space between these two. So this one should have, let me see again. All right, it's not wrapping. Let's wrap it. Let us wrap it. Let us wrap it. This is what buyers have to say. Let's have that on. This is so we have our first BR here. What buyers? We'll have a break tag here to break. Okay, perfect. This is an H3, right? It is an H3. It should be an H2, not H3. I think it's an H2 already, but the size is not coming out very big. 48 pixels. Well, it's the same, Sha. It's the same. So this one is the same. Same. That's fine. And then let's put the gap. The gap is 127 pixels. So the H2, the intro on the right. Okay. So this intro is for only testimonials. So I will say hashtag testimonials dash intro margin right 127 pixels. I should have started the responsiveness right now. 127 pixels. Okay, let's move ahead and add this. So this is already a padding. Michael Kesa. It is 14 pixels bold. This is regular. Okay. So basically the same thing but bold. It is called name, I believe. So testimonial name. Okay. So it has the same styling as the P tag, but it is bold. The font weight is 700. inside this 700. Let us see how that looks. All right, it looks well. It also has, does it have a margin top? None. Does that look good here? Yeah, it looks okay. So the rows has space between them. So space between the rows is 47 pixels. That's the gap for the testimonial div. You can see the div has the two rows inside of here. So the gap should come on this testimonial div as 46 pixels. So that will create the demarcation here. And just like that, we are done with our testimonials div. Okay. So let me make some of this responsive and then show you how to deploy a project. All right. So we'll stop here. So you guys, I've sent the link to the group chat. I will share it again. I will share it again. I'll copy the link. I'll paste it on the group again so you can go through it in your own time. All right. Where's the training website? The group chat. Okay. I've shared the link. All right. Um, so let us make this responsive a bit so that you can see it on your mobile phone as well. Okay. So we would say at media max width. So max width means 120 pixels and below, right? So when you say max width, it means that the highest size of width one to, so if it's above this, because it's saying max, so it is everything below. If it's above this, it no longer matches this criteria anymore. Right? So container 40 pixels, font size H1. So we reduce the H1, the H2 also was reduced, the H3 was reduced as well. The font size of the P was down as well. Let us observe what it looks like currently and see what will change. So now I can put this side by side. I can put this side by side now. Let me see. Let me increase the ratio here. Okay. So on mobile, I want to remove this O1. So I can come, where's the O1? Here it is 0 into 1. I don't want it to show at all on mobile version. So I will just shift Alt F to align it. I will say display none. Okay. So you can see it's gone. Everything else, it's fine. In fact, yes, everything else is fine. I can leave this for now. So we have our products on a column, and then our testimonials is aligned vertically, just like how I would like it. All right. So that is fine. 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 So let's add a navbar button here that shows this link. I don't want this tree to be here like this. I don't want them to be here like this. So I want to add a button. So you can click on the button and then the to show the menu. All right. So let's do that. So we can also hide this as well. To be honest, we can hide this as well. So let's do that. I'll go to index of HTML. I'll add a new element in the where's the section? There's a section here. Let's achieve that, and that will be the last thing we do. So inside the nav bar, we have this div for all of the links. Right? We'll still use that div. We'll still use that div. We will still use the div. Now, the logo will be on mobile. The number will not be on mobile. The number will not be on mobile version. So I'll create a new mobile, my.mobile. So in the mobile, we'll have a span that says menu. Okay. A span says menu. We'll now have another span that says menu links or a div dot menu or mobile links. Rather, mobile dash links. All right. And then we'll have these our links here like this. Shift Alt F. Perfect. So let us on mobile, on desktop, we don't want this to show on desktop at all. So we'll come here to the class and then we'll say dot mobile display none. But so it's everything's gone, right? But then for desktop, we'll say for in a media query, we want the display to be flex. Perfect. So what we also do that we also add a class called desktop to what we don't want to show on there. So we can add to this how you add multiple classes. Just add space. Just add space and type it there. All right. So we want this to disappear on desktop. We also want on mobile on mobile rather. We also want the number as well to disappear on mobile version as well. So we'll add the class of so this marks it for desktop and this marks it for desktop. All right. So we'll add the number here. Span phone number. Right. We'll give the class of phone number. Phone dash number. And then we'll paste the number inside of it. Okay. So let us go and add our desktop. So on desktop class, we want it to show on desktop. All right. So the desktop display flex, but inside of the media query, we'll say dot desktop, we have a display value of none. So as you can see, our desktop is still as it is because all the things we added, we want them to show only on mobile. And that's how it will be. Now let us arrange this where it's looking scattered. It's looking scattered. Why am I still seeing two menu here? So let us go back to okay, so this one is showing right now. Okay, perfect. Now this one by default it will have it will be by default display none mobile links. All right. So mobile links, even inside the mobile screen, we want to show only when a user clicks on the button or the menu button. So display none. Sorry, where is desktop? Desktop. Okay. So desktop display none. This mobile display none. Okay. Display flex. Navbar links. Navbar links. Navbar links. Let me check if it's on desktop. It's still here. I want this to not be here anymore. So this is the mobile version. These mobile links. It has a class of desktop, and this desktop class should be none, display none. Display none, right? So why is not affecting it? Do we have navbar links here? We have mobile navbar links. Mobile links. Desktop. Let me add navbar links as well. Navbar links. Hold on. Do we have navbar links elsewhere down here? Container one, mobile is flex. We don't. Okay. So let's figure out why we're not having. So we want what is desktop should not show on mobile. So desktop has the display of none. Or let's even see if it even affects it even before we even add display of none. So display of none is working. Display of none is working on this, but not working on navbar links for some reason. Let us see how we got navbar links. So navbar links, how do we style it? So navbar links, right? So because we are using a more precise way of selecting, because we are using a more precise way of selecting, is what is causing it to not work. So this desktop, I will turn it to an ID instead of a class. IDs have priority over class. So if you give an ID a color and you give a class a color, and you put that ID and that class on the same element, the color of the ID is what will be displayed. Okay, let me see. Okay, that has worked. Then let me come to this as well and make it an ID. Okay, so we have our menu here. All right, let's quickly give the menu some tiny styling. So mobile menu, okay? Mobile menu. Let's give it some padding of, let's say, what can we give it now? I would say 7 pixels vertical and 12 pixels horizontal. That will not show right now, but when I give it a background color of white and a color of black, why is it not showing? So we don't have the class of menu here. That is why. So class menu. and then we have our menu there. I want the vertical to be a tad bit smaller. Okay, so we're gonna have our border as 1 pixels solid black, and then a border radius of 4 pixels to match everything else we have on our website. 4 pixels border radius. 4 pixels border radius. Okay, border dash radius. All right, so when I click on this, so I'll say cursor should be pointer. Okay, when I click on this, I want to bring out the menu. Right, I want to bring out the menu, and if I click on it again, I want the menu to disappear. All right, that's the function we want to create right now. All right, so let us see how we can achieve this together. All right, so we have the mobile links here. .id. Let's see. So let's grab this container first of all. We'll grab this one and the other one as well. .mobile links. Let's make it. Let me give it an ID of mobile link as well. Grabbing elements with ID is just better because it just grabs one thing. So here I will say get elements by ID, and I will remove the dots in front of it. Okay. Mobile links. All right. Then what I want to grab next is this button, this menu button here. So I'll give it an ID of menu as well. Or menu button. Okay. Menu button. Perfect. So when I click on this, I want this to show. How will I make this show? I can add another ID to it. I can add another. I can add another class to it to make it show. All right. I can add another class to it to make it show. Right. So and then when I remove the class, it doesn't show anymore. So let's create the class first and test it. So I will say dot show. I'll say that will make display flex. All right. So now, sorry, now the menu links is not showing. But if I add that class we just started and say show, you can see it is showing now. All right. So this is what we want to achieve. We want to achieve this particular want to be able to toggle this on and off. So I will remove show. So then I'll add an event to the button. All right. I'll say, let's add event below. So dot add event listener. If you still remember from our last class. Now, what event do I want to add? I want to add a click. All right. What should happen when a user clicks on this? All right. So what I want to do is that I want to toggle the class of show on and off on links. So if show is inside of the menu links, I want to remove show. If show is not there, I want to add show class, right? So I would say, what's the name again? Mobile links. So they have a class called toggle. So I would say mobile links dot class list dot toggle. show. What this does is that what I've done is that I've added a click event that toggles the class of show on mobile links div. What this means is that when I click on this button, which is menu here, if this HTML element, if this mobile links has a class of show inside, clicking on this menu will remove show. If it doesn't have show inside, then clicking on the button will add the class of show. So let's test that and see if it works. So I click, you can see it started show. You won't see it here because this is the HTML, but it's in the code. That's why it is coming on. That's why we are seeing this list here. And if I click on it again, it disappears. You understand? So now we now have the button working. We simply have to style these mobile links, right? We have to style it to look the way we want to look. All right. So mobile links, where mobile links? We don't have mobile link. Okay, mobile links here. All right. So we can say flex direction is a column. Align items, it is to the end. To the end. As a matter of fact, I want these menu links to cover the whole screen. So um, I'll say position, cover the whole screen. Do I really want that? Let's say it shows up. Okay, covering the screen is not bad. Let's see that first. So absolute. So align items, I'll say start. Okay. Align items start. Absolute. So I'll say the width is 100 view width and the height is 100 view height. All right. Let's see how this works. Okay. Let us add the background to that. Background color. Let's say it's just as white. Let us say the top is 0 and the left is 0. Let's see. So it covers the whole page. All right. Let's refresh to move the card back. So now that we have that, this menu, I want it to be above everything else. So I will give this a Z index to make it above everything else. A Z index of 1, I'll say 2. And then I'll give the menu a Z index of 3 and see if that works. Z index of 3. All right. So where's the menu links? I want all of the colors to be black so they can show. The hex code for black is 000. So let us see if this works. So we have everything here. As you can see, it is working as we expect it to work. Now, for some reason, we are having our content outside, and I'm not sure why. I think it's because of the link. The links are still, I think the links are still white. Let me see. The links are definitely still white. All right. The links are still white. So mobile links, I'll change to fixed and see. I don't want it to scroll. Fixed, no. Hmm, fixed. Fixed. Let's think about this properly. Now, let's not make it to be full width. So let's say the width should be just 40. 40 view width, right? 40 view width, height. No, the width should be 40 view width, MC 50, half of the screen. So that's 50 view width. And the height should be about 50 as well. So it shows up on the top right. Okay. We'll just have this for now. This is not industry standard. This is not how it's been done usually. But as long as you understand the concept of toggling the classes, then you can create almost anything else. All right. So I'll have it like this. And then the mobile links, the A tags, I want them to be black as well. So I'll copy all of this, duplicate it, remove everything inside, add A here like so, and then say the color is black. All right. So let's now add all of the, let's now give it proper styling. We'll say, let's add some size to the A class. Let's say the font size is 24 pixels. Let's say the padding of this padding is about, let's say 20 pixels. All right, 20 pixels work. Let's say the vertical or the padding top rather should be about 800 pixels. 100 pixels. 100 pixels top and bottom. Okay, right, that's fine. So the one for the bottom can also be 20 pixels as well. I'm okay with that. All right, now let's give it some gap. I'll say the gap here should be somewhere about, let's say 15 pixels. That's not too much. All right. Okay. Also, so this is not how, again, this is not industry standard. You hardly see a design like this, right? But this is a menu that works, right? We can see all of our menu items here, and that is all that matters. So now let's go ahead and deploy this site to the live website and see how it looks on our devices. Let us do that real quick. Let me show you now. There's a platform called netlify.com. Netlify.com. So when it is time to deploy your website, come here, right? Come here and create an account here. Now, I already have an account, so I'll just go ahead and log into my account instead of creating a new one. But the process should be straightforward. I think you require a phone number as well. So I'll just go ahead and log into my account. All right, so I'm logged in. I'll go to now. I'll click on add new project. I'll click on deploy manually. So on yours, it should be something of the same. You might see this kind of thing. You might see this straight ahead, right? Straightforward when you sign up for the first time, right? This might be what you see. If you don't, just navigate to project and click on add new project and click on manually. Now I'll just open my file here and go to project. This is the final FSM project. So I'll click on everything like this and drop it. And let's wait for it to process. So it says published. Let us see if it's already published. And here we have our FSM website as we live and breathe on a live link. All right. It is on a live link. Let's rename. You can rename this so that the name doesn't look funny. So if you go to project configuration, where is it? Uh, project details, change project name. So I can call it FSM projects or FSM final projects. Okay. So it now says FSM final projects dot file dot app. So this is the link here. It is now live. I can now share this to anybody. So I will take this now and share it to. I'll take this and share it to the group chats so you can all view it even on your phones. All right. And that is it. That is the end of our lecture. So you can I'm opening it on my phone right now, and I can see the menu and everything there. If I click on the menu button, our menu pops up. All right. Exactly how we intended it for it. Exactly how we planned for it to look. Right. So let me screen record my phone and share with you guys. So I'm clicking on the menu. It is turning on and off. All right. We have everything else there as well. So this brings us to the end of this program. I hope you guys learned a lot. All right. So you guys can go ahead and complete this design. You can go ahead and complete this design. I sent the link again today to the FSM group chat. So that link is how you will see this design. It's open on your website, right? Same thing. You can download the images as well and everything as well, right? And you can also you can complete this section and this section, all right? That is your task. That is your practice. It is important to practice this because not practicing is the fastest way to allow this skill to leave you. The skill leaves when you don't practice. All right. The skill leaves you when you don't practice. So try as much as possible to keep building things, keep learning, keep watching YouTube videos. If you have any serious blocker, you can call me or you can text me rather. Leave a message for me and I will get to it. I know I might not have been very, very interactive during the course of this program. I have a lot of messages during the time, but those who practice and reach out to me, I will make sure you get a response and your blockers are resolved. So thank you very much once again for the time and the commitments you showed throughout this program. And I look forward to seeing what you guys build in the future. Thank you very much. Mr. Festus, are you with us?
Yes, good evening once again, everyone. Thank you so much, Brother
Amen.
Israel. It has been a great ride with you, if I can say it that way. So this kind of the simplest introduction to front end web dev I've seen, and so practical. And I believe for everyone that has followed the class from the beginning till now, we must have been able to put our hands on one project or the other. Whatever you have written, any line of code is your project. You can only build on it. So this is the end of the tutorial, and like it's posted on the group, attendance is key for us to go further. At the beginning of this uh, class, it was announced to us by the central coordinator, Professor Olugbenga Adeoluwa, that the end product of this class should give birth to, people who are ready to give visibility to mission organizations to the end that they can get people to see what they do and also to support them. So I believe with that burden in our hearts, we can get our hands to practice. So all of the classes will be collated. The link to each of the classes will be collated and sent to the WhatsApp group. But please do well to fill the attendance sheet for tonight. So we are going to be creating a separate WhatsApp group where can I say, close conversations can be carried out. So if you are good to be there, then you are so sure that as you work on a project, you can easily collaborate with others, and let's see how far the Lord will take us. This may be your first time trying out, writing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and all of these things. But I tell you, there is one who gives wisdom. Yes, and who gives unction for us to know all things. And you can so much depend on him. By God's grace, I don't know if Mr. Israel will try and share with us how he got into programming, or you studied computer science.
No, I did not study computer science. I'm studying economics. So, um, I was looking for a way to upskill myself. So I started first with web design. This design you see here, I designed it myself. So web design is laying out the architecture and the design for a website. So there are people who specialize in that. It's called UI UX. They come to this platform and they brainstorm and come about the design. So that is the field I started with. And then I learned how to build websites using WordPress. All right. So and then as time moved on, I learned to build them myself with code, right? Because it's just a way of it gives me more income if I can build it myself. So that is why I ventured into that, and then I learned how to build it myself. And then from front end, and right now I do full stack, so front end and back end. So that was how I got introduced into programming. I did not study computer science, so none of you need to study computer science. It is a great advantage. It is a very, very great advantage. However, it is not compulsory to learn or to study computer science in university for you to be a programmer. All right.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that part with us. And I believe everyone who has listened can actually go ahead and put their hands to practice. So please, if you have not filled the attendance sheet, is in the live chat, do well to fill it, and our conversations will go on at the appropriate time. Please, there may still be another meeting, not a class, where the central coordinator will be speaking with every one of us, probably on Zoom directly. We can ask our questions and interact. That will not be on YouTube. So the Zoom link will be shared appropriately in due time. But in the meantime, please go ahead, start something, go over the classes again, and do it. This is a chance to change the trajectory of your life. I can tell you, he's studying economics, and I've met people who studied Yoruba, who studied like what is very unrelated, and I've gone ahead to dive into this, and they can say, "Oh, thank God, I got to know this." So we thank God for how far He has brought us, and we cannot but just give thanks. So can you just say thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity? This has been brought to you free of charge, paid for by God. Can you just say thank you, Jesus? Thank you, Jesus. For God has faithfully, in His mercy, ensured that you come across this opportunity at this time and position someone like Mr. Israel to teach, and also FSM to organize this. So, Father, we give you praise. Blessed be your name. Lord, we ask that as everyone will be putting their hands to work, wisdom, strength, insight will come upon everyone in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Glory to God. Yeah, so let's do well to have a restful night if you are from this part where it is night. And if you are in the day, do well to have a great day. Thank you. God bless you, Brother Israel.